Hello and welcome to part 2 of our round the table discussion. By the time this recording plays out, the lovely couple on my left will be frantically preparing for the biggest convention that our country hosts every year, and the couple on my right will be moving into a new house. Well, complex thing.
Place.
Living abode.
Place. And I will be relaxing at home, so...
No, you won't. You'll be helping us move.
That's true.
Now we know you don't have anything to do that day.
Yes. Did I mention that I'm helping them? And if they ask me for help, I'm helping them. Anyway, we decided to do a roundtable conversation of just who we are in terms of the creators of Bacon Battalion, the Cursed Bones, and Bacon Battalion 121st Division. This is just for the next 3 weeks whilst everyone's lives is in turmoil, and after that we will resume with our regular programming. Now, if you haven't been following what's happening on the channel, then this message is not for you. If you have been, well, then this message is for you, but you already know it, so there's no point in giving it. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, but now I feel
What's
like I
the
want to know what
message?
the message
Well,
is.
you obviously haven't been watching the channel, in which case it's not for you.
No, I haven't because I'm.
You don't watch our channel, Sears.
I catch up sometimes. Sometimes Frank asks.
I
a
don't-
thing
I
that
don't-
have to,
I don't
like,
watch our channel
Review
either.
the video to find out what he's talking about.
I don't watch our channel either. I
Did you
love
just-
it.
Oh!
We have already established in the previous episode that Sean is a
Vicious DM.
diabolically interesting individual who believes in baby cannibalism. Now, on that particular note, let us find out, Carla, what is your favorite bacon moment so far?
I think in 121st Division, just because I really didn't think it could possibly happen, was when I re-rolled the 3. When I was like, as long as it's not a 3. And then it was a 3. I was like, this is the worst. Because also, I feel like my character is actually really competent. But the dice hate me. And I just want to prove to the group that I'm useful. And I can't do shit.
Really nice back rubs.
Yeah. I mean,
Or
the
front
one-
rubs, depending on where
Go and make that supervillain feel
Special.
uncomfortable.
It feels special.
You're a good villain. You're so good.
So good. And in our Pathfinder game, I got it. It was one of the first ones, and it's just the image of it was when we were all out the window trying to hoist the queen, and people's pants are falling down. Sin's got a grappling hook in her. Parador's just peeping over the edge, like, what's going on? And there's like a really gross guy gumming a turkey bone. I was just like, this is like a great combination of my imagination and what's actually happened. It was tons of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the future, we're moving Bacon and the Cursed Bones to D&D 5th edition.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm keen, but I hope Bards are still cool.
Bards
Well,
are
there's
much,
less
Bards
cheating
are
allowed
much
in 5th
cooler.
edition.
Well,
So
that's
much.
good to know.
Oh, it's so hardcore.
Yeah, because
Bards are badass now. It's okay.
I'm excited for that. Because, yeah, apparently people have told me they're super hardcore, but I
Yeah.
can't apparently buff everybody, so I'm going to have to pick favorites.
It's okay. I don't need no buffing.
To hit targets.
No. Just
Like-
give me a special
No.
rod and I'm
No,
good to
he
go.
just needs, he just
Admittedly,
needs
that
buffs
was
to
sick.
miss his own party.
Yes,
Yeah.
buffs to miss your own part. There's an
Yeah.
interesting spell addition. Target party avoidance.
+1 in case you roll 1.
And CS, you mentioned one of our fans who's joined us fairly recently, but has been very prolific in communicating with us.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the fan base? I mean, this whole YouTube thing is new to all of us. None of us have done this before.
Yeah, producing content. I have a friend who has actually been doing Let's Plays from this country for a while, and is sort of a struggling artist eating sandwiches and hoping no one turns off his electricity. So I've had some close interaction and a fair amount of conversation with people that do this kind of thing, but yeah, never been involved in it myself. It's been really nice that we started off with a couple of local fans. Leena Rawwwrrrr, who I'm sure all of you have seen the essay comments, is sort of a local to us and someone we know in real life. She was the first fan that stalked me at a convention and sort of came up to me and went, "That was so amazing," and I had no idea who she was. So that was really great, and that's kind of, I think when you start something like this, that's really what you expect. You expect that there's going to be one or two of your friends that are like, "Hey, this is really great and really amazing." But then when someone starts a comment off with, "Hey, English is not my first language, but I really enjoy what you guys are doing, and isn't this amazing?" You really start to sort of think that, you know, it's weird, but this is really bigger than, like, it's bigger than just about any other impact that you can have. Like, now suddenly, it doesn't matter how small your audience is, you know, it's out there somewhere, and your audience might never be able to get together because it's 5 people in this country and 20 people in that country and 8 people in another country. But somehow, because of this thing that they share and that they share with us, we get to have these interesting conversations about them, with them, about the usually stupid shit that we get up to.
And Sin, how does that make you feel when you when we come in for a recording? So for fans who don't know, we try and record 2 episodes in a day. Sometimes we get lucky and we get 3, but usually it's 2, and usually that's so that we can have content going out every week without running out of material, because we all, as you saw in the previous show, have real day jobs and apparently a completely and utterly irrevocable incapacity to keep track of time.
So many words tacked on there.
So many words tacked on there. You see, that's a GM tactic where
more adjectives.
You kind of know where you're going, but
kind
you
of
just
like more
forget how
dots,
to get
just
there.
more adjectives.
Correct. So Sin, how do you feel any kind of pressure? I mean, let's be honest here. We have a core of maybe 200 of you guys who watch, which in YouTube terms, we're not sitting with 40, 50, 60,000 people watching daily, but we are sitting with 200 people who talk to us, which I think for me is far more
100%.
Engaging and personal than those numbers. So, you know, if it's a big number, it's an audience, but because it's so small, there's a certain amount of intimacy. Do you ever have like a fear or a pressure when you're coming into a session? What is recording a session like for you?
So the night before we're going to record, I'm like, why do we have to do this? There's so much work that has to be done. I have no time. I'm so bad at this. How am I even making a living?
Adult.
Then yes, exactly. I can't adult. Then I come and we do our recording, and I have so much fun. And I realize this is why I do it, because I like spending time with you guys. I love playing the characters that I've created. I love finding out the story that you're slowly like revealing to us. And then later it's hearing stories comments from our fans about, "Oh, I love this scene, you were so epic," or the weirdest thing for me this year was when we attended Icon, and I had people that I didn't know coming up to me going, "Rah, I love you," and going away. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And apparently they were just greeting me like how I would have been greeted if I was Colossus in real life. But thanks, Leena, for pointing that out, because I didn't know this. And I was like, "Blah, back to you. I don't know what's going on. Someone help me." So I think I do find it's quite stressful doing this, but at the same time, I would hate to give it up.
Yeah, I think there's also, and this is just locally, but clearly both me and Sin have had situations where people greet the character first and then realize that character may or may not be anything like us. I think it's relatively obvious that I am not very much like Barador.
I was about to raise that point.
I made that quite clear in the sort of intro video. But it is interesting that just because that's the persona that people see, and we're not particularly great at never breaking character, during the sessions. We definitely do that because we all enjoy laughing too much to not to. But it is kind of a weird brain switch moment that you have to sort of go, oh, they're not just yelling at me, they're yelling at my character that yelled at a bunch of thieves that made them just turn around and run away. I get it now. Rawr. That's great. Rawr.
Also, I point out, like, we might not have thousands of people, and we have 200. But if you think about it, that's because we're unplugged. It's a smaller session. We're not at a concert.
Right.
Bacon unplugged, people.
Bacon unplugged. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Damn, I'm on form today.
That would be campfire bacon, right? Because you don't have a stove.
You just have, it's bacon on a stick in a campfire. Stick bacon.
Bacon.
Bacon wrapped pork.
Now, that was an interesting question that came up, and we had to sort of think, how did it happen? A lot of people have said, where does Bacon Battalion come from? And I think, Sean, you're the reason why it happened, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm the naming guy.
That's not a
The
thing.
name's
One
I'm certainly the
time,
naming guy.
one thing does not make you the naming guy.
Let's not revisit some of the things
No,
that
no,
has turned on because this is a family show. No, it's not. Fuck families. This is just a show.
The family model.
The family
Those guys.
No. So where did bacon come from? Do you remember?
I think traditionally from pigs. I can't be sure. I'll have to check my sources, but
No.
that's what I've heard.
Oh, you can Google that.
Bacon comes from a package. It was put there by hand.
At the supermarkets.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, there we
Bacon
go.
comes from a
There we go.
shop.
Correct.
Comes from a shop.
Yes. And if it could come from puppies,
No,
we would eat puppies.
I think our first session we were just like we were like okay, we're gonna shoot in the morning. We'd have bacon and eggs, and weren't we like having bacon and eggs before the session?
Yeah.
And I was like,
We were.
oh, we should just call it Bacon Battalion. And the next day, a guy had emailed us a logo with saying Bacon Battalion. I'm like, I was just kidding. I was just kidding, but okay.
No, I love it. I love it randomly when you're talking to people and you go like, I can't make the plans this weekend because I've got bacon filming, and people are like, what, like a food show?
I haven't had that though.
Now, although we could
I
actually
have-
do a food show because, CS, you're quite a good chef.
Yeah, CS
You're
can
definitely
cook.
a good chef.
The
Your steaks are famous.
He's-
Oh,
Yeah.
I already said like next week once we moved in, I'm inviting everybody for steak.
That's
a
that's
thing.
us, not you. You're
Sorry.
not the
Sorry.
Exactly.
If you want, we can try maybe to have a Skype session so you can watch us eat.
No.
Said
No,
steaks.
I don't
That's
want
mean.
people
But I think
watching
that
me.
I think we're gonna need like a lot more subscribers for that to happen. If we reach like 500 subscribers by the time that happens,
Did you just
You
put on a
realize
poll
I'm
on
gonna-
our
I'm-
channel like hashtag how I watch us eat steak?
yeah. I mean, how many subscribers
Full
now?
subs for steak.
How many subs do we have
Yeah,
now?
we've got a lot of subscribers. We've got 2,600 subscribers.
Okay, if we get to like 3,000, you can watch us have steaks at my house.
There we go.
That's so Mary Antoinette. Let us eat steak.
Totally.
Let us eat steak.
Unplugged.
Unplugged. All right.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
there
so
we go.
they can cook, but me and Guy cannot cook.
No, I
Guy
didn't-
has a 4-bean surprise. What's
Correct.
it?
4-bean surprise. And the surprise is it contains 5 beans.
No,
Shame.
I thought the surprise what happens to your body afterwards
No, that's
when you
the
crop
fucking
dusting
disaster.
everyone.
And shame, if you watch a show called LARPs, right? There's this point where the GM, okay, spoilers, makes a cake for his LARPers, and he's like, go in the door, and they're like, no, we don't want to go, it's gonna be trapped. And then they leave, and then he just sits there with his cake celebrating their anniversary for LARPing. And Guy did that once with his 4-bean
did.
surprise.
I did.
He made it the night before, and he's like, okay, we're gonna have it on the Sunday, it's gonna be awesome. And we didn't know, so we were all like, one of us was sick, 2 of us were working, and then he was like, okay, it's fine, guys, you don't have to come. And Shamey sat
There's a
with
picture
his-
he was sitting in the dungeon eating by himself.
with
Yeah,
his
unfortunately,
4-bean.
everyone can picture me eating all of that because I'm not the smallest person on the planet.
Shame.
And I didn't actually eat it all because the dogs had to have some of it because it was just too much. Anyway.
Also, just so you know, I hate beans.
In future,
I
guy,
like beans.
Oh, well, there you
hate
go.
beans so
in
much.
future, guy, you
I
should
like
just fucking
beans.
tell us. I don't fucking care, guys.
You will come here.
You will
You
come.
don't have to record, but you will come here, you will eat this food I have prepared. Look at this blood on my hands. I nicked my pinky. Blood! Blood in this food. No, not in this food.
Blood in the Food, the new album by
Bacon
Scandalous.
Unplugged.
Yeah, Bacon Unplugged.
boy.
Bam.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, wait, yeah.
We're
So
fine.
here's-
Absolutely fine.
if I may, here's a question: what's everybody's like history with role playing?
Well, Sin, we know yours.
Yeah.
Sears?
My first actual contact with role playing was when I was doing a very interesting course called Clause 101 at UCT.
Is that clauses in like rar or clauses in hoo hoo hoo?
No. It's
What,
clause
like a
as in
prostitution thing.
as in
No,
Like
Santa.
Oh.
I thought he was trying to get a clause in a contract. That's
no. It's a unadvertised sort of course that they have at the University of Cape Town called Cape Town League of Adventurers and Wargamers 101.
Oh,
It's where
that's
you are so infatuated with geek culture for the first year that you are studying at UCT that you fail every single subject and spend all of your time in the Cape Town League of Adventurers and Wargamers club room
Valid.
playing role-playing games.
I do think that's a better excuse than drugged up, drunked up, or sexed up. So for
I
first
think
years,
so.
I would accept
I
that
think
as a
so.
valid,
Look, and
valid
I
excuse.
also had the dubious, sort of honor of having my Math 101 lecturer coming into the claw room and waking me up after she had lectured the class that I was supposed to be in, and then waking me up to have a role-playing session with me directly after. said class.
why does it sound like that was like not a like it was a role playing session? Like,
No,
it's
it
weird.
was an actual role-playing section. I mean, she was pretty hot, but no, it was just a role-playing
Does that
section.
still exist at UCT?
Yes,
Okay.
although they've apparently been kicked out of the club room that they were originally in. But there was a couple of, one of the earlier episodes, there was a comment from someone saying, whether some of us were actually in claws. So that was really my initial exposure to role playing. After that, it's been a very on and off thing for me. I dropped out of it for many years, maybe 8-9 years or so, and then
Is that because you ran out of dice, or?
no, it's just because I
Dice addiction
didn't
is a
role
thing.
play at
Because
the
he's a
time.
hobby whore.
It is
It
because
is because he's a hobby hole.
potentially because I'm a hobby hole. And then I moved in with a very interesting, I was about to say girl, but I suppose woman is a more correct term, who sort of
Warrior
forced
queen.
me. Warrior queen is also a
Warrior
reasonable
queen,
term.
bringer
Yeah.
of death, slayer of the
Slayer of
living.
all that is good and holy.
Yes.
She killed the god of color
Yes,
and
she
happiness
did. She did.
in the world,
She killed the god of
which
color and happiness.
was an unfortunate occurrence. Who then dragged me to come and play a campaign with this guy, which ended
I
up
remember
with
that.
us blowing up half the world. Because
But your
that's-
character did die,
did.
saving the world from a vampiric mist, if I remember, that was going to be
I
spread
did,
out
yeah.
by the
After
gnomes.
I'd sacrificed my race.
That's right. Yeah. Well, your
Um,
particular group of gnomes in a mountain.
Yes,
Yes. They did blow up a mountain as well. But,
we did, yeah. So
yes.
that's kind of where I fell back into it.
If
Then
neither
that-
of you are going to say it, Tam, we miss you. If you're watching this, we miss you.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Back
really
from-
Despite all the
from-
adjectives of hatred,
Yes.
they're filled
Yes.
with love.
Come back from the deserts. She is actually coming back, and we are planning a
She
session
is,
with her.
yeah. That's going to be a thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I then fell out of it for like another year
Mm.
before Guy comes over to my house one morning and goes, "Hey, I want to do this thing. Do you want to be a part of this thing?"
I remember that conversation.
Yeah.
Were you playing Firefly or something like that?
Yeah, we were.
I
wanna
suspect
play
so.
fun. You guys were trying to convince
Good
me
game.
that it,
Let's
it
do
would
it.
be fun.
Yes,
Whatever.
it'd be
And I
fun.
was like, I don't know. I'm glad you guys.
I think getting this together was kind of interesting because you specifically tried to get together a group that had a range from between next to no experience and some fairly experienced role players, but you wanted it to be interesting people. So
Absolutely. Interesting and engaging people. And on that note, we will be back next week when we conclude these conversations around the table. This is the final week before our Patreon goes live. Now, the reason why we're launching Patreon is multitudinous, but principally it's so that we can buy snacks for these wonderful people sitting around the table and do all sorts of other weird and wonderful things with them. Centered
follow
around
them?
role-playing.
Yeah,
But not what
follow
you
them.
were doing with your maths teacher, potentially. Anyway.
And we've got some really cool rewards, we think, so please go check it out. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And if not, just continue watching and sharing us with all of your friends and enemies.
And commenting.
And commenting.
We like the
of course,
comments.
Of course, we'll get to the commenting in the next section as well. Until next time then, goodbye.
Bye!